Mike Tyson recently admitted that his fight with Jake Paul was actually rigged. This revelation could mean big trouble for Jake. After the fight, Jake made some strange comments suggesting the fight was scripted. He said he held back because Tyson wasn't fighting back, which left a lot of fans doubtful. Then, there were Tyson's interviews before the fight, where he promised to chase Jake around and give the fans a good show. But the Tyson who showed up that night was nothing like the one he described. Did anyone start to wonder what was really going on?
You noticed he was tiring out?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely a bit. You know, I wanted to give the fans a show, but I didn't want to hurt someone that didn't need to be hurt.
Did you feel Mike's power at all?
No.
He hit you with one, and you gave him the tongue.
I only because the crowd, got turned up.
Was Tyson's performance due to his age, or was something else going on? Was Jake Paul's victory real, or was it all part of a bigger plan to keep the spectacle going? Stick with us as we dive into one of the most confusing fights in boxing history. From what happened in the ring to the online buzz, we're covering it all. Was it just an off night for Tyson, or was the whole fight planned from the start? Let's break it down.
But then I saw this. I've been watching Mike Tyson, and I'm not a big boxing fan, but I know Mike likes to fight on the inside. And once he rocks you, then he goes in and finishes you off. This is Mike Tyson. This is Iron Mike Tyson to the T. This is Mike's muscle memory. He rocks you, and then he works you body on the inside, goes for the uppercut, knocks you out. But when you watch this, Mike rocked Jake Paul in the face. He caught him. Jake started to fall back, and then it was as if Mike was like, well, damn, I'm gonna knock him out. I'm sorry, the contract said don't knock out.
Jake Paul's claim that he held back during the fight instantly raised some eyebrows. Why would someone who's built a reputation on being bold and unapologetic suddenly show mercy in the ring? Fans were puzzled, especially given Jake's history. Think about it, Jake has carefully shaped his boxing career by taking on opponents who, let's be honest, weren't exactly in their prime. From retired athletes to former MMA fighters, his matches have often been more about the spectacle than real competition. Now, facing a 58-year-old Mike Tyson, the pattern seemed to continue, but this time, the stakes were much higher. This wasn't just any opponent, this was Iron Mike.
For the Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson fight was leaked hours before the fight happened. Let me explain. Obviously, with it being Jake Paul, a lot of people expected the fight to be rigged, basically to ensure that Jake wins. So this coming out literal hours before the fight didn't help at all, and it's very detailed. I'll move out the way so you can pause it and have a read. But as you can see, this is the end.
Jake Paul claimed he didn't want to knock out Tyson because Tyson wasn't fighting back, but fans quickly called him out on it. If Tyson wasn't throwing punches, why didn't Jake just go for it? Was he trying to do Tyson a favor, or was there something else going on? Jake's explanation about holding back to protect Tyson's legacy or health might sound noble, but fans weren't convinced. To them, it seemed like a weak excuse for a fight that didn't meet the hype.
I tried to give the fight the best fight I possibly could, but when someone's just surviving in the ring, basically, it's hard to make it exciting. So I couldn't really get him to engage me or slip shots and, do something super cool or whatever. But I don't care about what people have.
Watching Mike Tyson fight Jake Paul felt like watching a caged animal trying to break free. Fans who tuned in expecting Tyson's usual ferocity were left confused. There were moments when it looked like Tyson was about to unleash his power, but then something would hold him back. Was it fatigue, strategy, or something more planned? One thing that stood out was Tyson repeatedly biting his gloves, something he's done before, but usually out of frustration. In this fight, it seemed like he was holding himself back, almost like he was trying to control his instincts. Fans couldn't help but wonder, why would Mike Tyson, of all people, hold back in a fight? Then there were the moments when Tyson started to press forward, showing glimpses of the old Iron Mike. But just as quickly as they appeared, those flashes disappeared. His punches lacked power, his movements were slow, and his aggression seemed toned down. For someone known for dominating his opponents, this was completely out of character.
Yeah, there's rumors going around. Apparently in the contract, Mike Tyson is not allowed to actually knock out Jake Paul or knock him down in any of the rounds. I can't lie, what did you expect? Of course this fight was going to be rigged. It's a 60-year-old versus a 27-year-old. Oh, I won't be surprised if the match ends up being a draw or some bullshit, bro. I think there's too much at stake, because if Mike Tyson loses to fucking Jake Paul, then this brother's entire legacy's just gone down the drain.
What caught fans' attention was how different Tyson looked compared to his fight with Roy Jones Jr. just 4 years earlier. Back then, Tyson was a powerhouse. His movement, stamina, and aggression were on full display. But against Jake Paul, it felt like watching a completely different fighter. For many, the only explanation was that Tyson wasn't holding back because he wanted to, but because he had to. One of the strangest parts of the fight was Tyson repeatedly biting his gloves. For longtime fans, this wasn't completely new. He's done it before when he's frustrated or holding back. But in this fight, it happened so often that it couldn't be ignored. Was it just a quirk, or was it a sign of something deeper? Almost immediately, rumors began circulating. Some suggested that Tyson was given a script for the fight, a set of rules he had to follow to keep the match entertaining without stealing the spotlight from Jake Paul. Allegedly, the script included guidelines to hold back punches and avoid a knockout. It sounds crazy, but in the world of celebrity boxing, is it really that hard to believe?
What happened? What happened in the fight? What happened in the ring? There was no substance. It's like when you're cooking a meal all day. You cook up a nice broth. You put your organic steak mince in. You put your potatoes in. Your sweet potatoes are a bit better for you. Bit of vegetables, all your stock, and you're slow cooking it all day. And then at the end of the day, when you dip the spoon in and you have a little sample and it tastes like absolute shit, you think to yourself, what a waste of time.
What caught fans' attention was how different Tyson looked compared to his fight with Roy Jones Jr. just 4 years earlier. Back then, Tyson was a powerhouse. His movement, stamina, and aggression were on full display. But against Jake Paul, it felt like watching a completely different fighter. For many, the only explanation was that Tyson wasn't holding back because he wanted to, but because he had to. One of the strangest parts of the fight was Tyson repeatedly biting his gloves. For longtime fans, this wasn't completely new. He's done it before when he's frustrated or holding back. But in this fight, it happened so often that it couldn't be ignored. Was it just a quirk, or was it a sign of something deeper? Almost immediately, rumors began circulating. Some suggested that Tyson was given a script for the fight, a set of rules he had to follow to keep the match entertaining without stealing the spotlight from Jake Paul. Allegedly, the script included guidelines to hold back punches and avoid a knockout. It sounds crazy, but in the world of celebrity boxing, is it really that hard to believe?
I'm sorry, yeah, but talk about bullshit. This fight, you're telling me that the one and only, one of the best boxers of all time, only threw 97 punches, and you're telling me this gimp threw 278? But not only that, you're going to tell me as well that Tyson only landed 18. Percentage of 18%. Do you know what? Yeah, if it was not even fair, if it was a fight that was actually legit, I would give this brother props.
Tyson's performance against Jake Paul didn't match what he promised leading up to the fight. In interviews, he talked about being aggressive, saying he was going to chase Jake down and wear him out. These weren't just empty words. They were part of what sold the fight to millions of fans. But when fight night arrived, that version of Tyson never showed up. Instead, fans saw a man who looked hesitant, restrained, and almost disconnected from the action. When compared to his fight with Roy Jones Jr., Tyson looked like a man on a mission back then, but against Jake Paul, he seemed to be following a script. Was Tyson's lack of aggression a sign of aging, or was there something more planned? Could he have been holding back to avoid overshadowing Jake Paul, who has built his career on defeating high-profile opponents? Whatever the reason, the sharp contrast between these two performances has sparked debate among fans. One thing is clear. The Tyson who faced Jake Paul wasn't the Tyson fans were hoping for, and that's a big part of why this fight feels so controversial. Tyson hyped up this fight like only he can. He wasn't shy about telling the world what to expect. He discussed his strategy, his hunger, and how he was going to show Jake Paul what a real fight looks like. In interviews, Tyson seemed energized and confident, promising to run after Jake and wear him down, painting a picture of the relentless aggression fans associate with his name.
Going straight through him. Woo! He won't have to wait. He don't have to find me. All the running I'm gonna do is right at him. He ain't gotta worry about fight.
When fight day arrived, the Tyson in the ring was nothing like the one from the interviews. Instead of charging forward and putting pressure on Jake Paul, Tyson stayed mostly in one spot. His punches were scattered, his footwork was almost non-existent, and his aggression was nowhere to be found. For fans who bought into the pre-fight hype, the reality was a huge letdown. So what went wrong? Some fans think Tyson's age finally caught up to him. After all, boxing is a young man's sport, and expecting a 68-year-old to perform like he's in his prime might be unrealistic. But for others, The sudden shift from Tyson's pre-fight promises to his performance felt too suspicious to be a coincidence. Was Tyson forced to hold back for some reason? Was there pressure to deliver a specific kind of fight? Almost immediately, rumors began to swirl. Celebrity boxing is big business, and a fight between Tyson and Jake Paul was always going to be more about entertainment than actual competition. Some fans speculated that Tyson was told to tone down his aggression to keep the fight marketable. A one-sided beatdown wouldn't have done Jake Paul any favors, and a scripted match could have ensured both fighters kept their reputations and their paychecks intact.
You kept it classy. You was wobbled. You did your thing. You didn't get greedy.
Yeah, after I seen him a little bit tired, I didn't want to put too much hurt on him, but I wanted the fans to get a good experience. But there was a point where all of my aggression and like super violence and like I'm gonna knock this guy out and show him, it went away when I wasn't getting hit much at all. And I don't know, I just
punches wasn't doing it.
I love Mike.
I was in Katie's change room. She was getting stitched up. I watched the first 30 seconds, which were quite entertaining, and then afterwards it's horrible to watch. And that's just like. Did you enjoy watching most of that fight? It was hard to watch, but it was always going to be like that. But it doesn't have to be. They're not making this for me. Look how many people turned up. Look how many people tuned in. So I can't knock it. It's just not for me. And that's not disrespectful. I love boxing. I don't want to see Mike Tyson stuck in quicksand. And he showed unbelievable heart, by the way. No one wants to see that.